the challenge we had at Home Hardware, and to a certain extent we're still dealing with it, is trying to learn as we're building things. So with Agile coming to the table, we have the ability to work more closely with their business partners to solve the problem incrementally, as opposed to trying to define everything up front, which is very difficult for people to do. More of a waterfall type approach where we would define the requirements more completely and then go on to define the design. But the problem with that is you spend months and months defining requirements. Something as big as we did with ThoughtCorp probably would have taken us half the year just to get to the point we would have cut our first piece of code. The problem with that is the first time the business actually sees something and can learn from that and adjust the direction of the project can easily be 6 to 8 months into a project. So it gets very costly to go back. I think it was just a natural fit with Home Hardware. As we're trying to find better ways to develop software and to work with partners like ThoughtCorp, I think it's a natural fit because Home Hardware is a very big people-oriented company. We really value the people and their opinions. So it was just a natural fit because it is what Agile really promotes, is working with people. From a project point of view, we had a roadmap at the very beginning of the project which defined what we were trying to achieve over the lifetime of the project. And very much we're measuring to that, because in order to roll this new product out to the dealers, there has to be a base set of functionality there. From the approach point of view for Agile, very difficult one to put a handle around, to say, how can we quantify what the success of it was going to be? You certainly wouldn't be able to put something on it like, we were 50% better. How do you prove that? What we do know though, and what we do draw to for the success or measure of success, is the fact that business was very pleased with the outcome. The fact that they were able to, on a week-by-week basis, take a look at what the next priorities are and adjust them accordingly. I don't think Agile is really there to make things necessarily faster or cheaper or whatever. I think what Agile really brings to the table is to deliver higher value to the business. Because they get to learn along the way, they get to tweak things as they go. So instead of continuing down the road and spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to develop something that's going to provide marginal value, they get to get higher value from it because they get to tweak it as we go. So the role ThoughtCorp played was certainly for the product development part of it, for building up the actual application. ThoughtCorp ran with a very iterative, agile kind of methodology. They played a very, very big role, a leadership role in that sense, and in fact they took care of even working directly with our business to prioritize what's the next thing we need to be working on, what's the long-term vision. Yeah, it started about a year ago, and I do remember I wasn't an integral part of the selection process that brought ThoughtCorp in, but I do remember when we started that process, ThoughtCorp was still thinking in terms of a waterfall kind of environment as well. And as a part of the contract negotiation, we actually brought the suggestion forward to the table. And through some discussion, ThoughtCorp jumped on board with it and ran with it very well too. I think the biggest one is the collaboration. The fact that the business gets to work directly with ThoughtCorp on a very regular basis, weekly if not daily at times, and the fact they get to collaborate and see the product on a weekly basis, and they get to influence what's happening to that product as it goes along. I think that's been a tremendous factor in the success of this. People. It's the interaction that has to happen. I talked about collaboration. Whatever form you want it to take on, It's the interaction that has to happen between people. Too often in this world, we pass emails around, toss things over the wall, and we hope that the next guy has grabbed onto it and ran with it. But we remove that people aspect, and I think we got to be careful about that. I think that's what Agile really helps to promote, is to get people talking to each other and working more closely together. Absolutely. I think it could, most obviously apply within the IT department. In fact, that's where it is starting to catch on more wholesale, is it's spreading throughout the IT department, and people are really exploring it and trying to understand it. And there's a lot of misconceptions, of course, like anything new that gets introduced. But when you think of a company like Agile, company like Home Hardware, that's out there in the world competing for people's dollars at a retail level. When you look at the concepts of Agile, it makes a lot of sense. If we can even get our dealers collaborating with each other and working in a more Agile sense, could make a difference in the success.